Okay. And if you see me sometimes not looking at the camera, I've got two screens set up here, and I've got the chat here on my left-hand side, and then what you're looking at on my right-hand side here with the slide deck. So a couple things. If you have only one monitor, then what we can do is you can exit out of full screen so you can have maybe the participants, if you want to see them on one side of your screen, and or the slide deck on the other side. Depending on which type of device you have, you can just exit full screen. On my device right here in the upper left-hand corner, it's this green button. It says exit full screen. Yours might be in the upper right-hand corner to exit full screen out of mine when I'm sharing it with you. So if you're not for sure, feel free to put it in chat, and maybe we can help you. Another thing, so in chat you saw that I had the bit.ly link there, and all you have to do is go over there to chat. If you're new to the Zoom, using Zoom, the chat is at the bottom of your screen, and you just can click on chat and you can bring up everything that's in the chat since you've been in the meeting here. So all I have to do is go over to chat, highlight the bit.ly link, copy it. And then what I can do here, I can come up here to my plus sign and add a new tab, and then just paste in the bit.ly link. Basically what a bit.ly link is just a shortened URL. So I took the long URL from my slide deck, put it into the bit.ly link website, and then customize it to District 87 K-2 Google Classroom. So all I have to do then is hit enter, and then I should be able to. So if I go over here to my, I'll go over to my personal account here and put in the link. So if you want access to the slide deck after today, this is all you have to do. Just come up here to where it says the title, District 87, K-2 Introduction to Google Classroom, and there is a triangle with a plus sign. That triangle with the plus sign, click on that. And again, if you're new to Google, this is connected to your drive. So anytime you see the triangle with the plus sign, that means you can connect this to your drive, add it to your drive. So I can put it in my drive from here, or within my drive, I can create a folder. So think of your drive as a big file cabinet, and you can have a bunch of the folders in there. So if I already have, some of you are attending many workshops this week. If you want to create a folder of workshops from, May 18th, 2020 week, you can do that. You can name it Google Workshops, whatever you want to name the folder. So to add a new folder, all you have to do is come down here, click on this folder sign with the plus, add a new folder, and give it a name and give it a check to create the folder, and then the slide deck will go in there. In Google, this is called Google Slides, and you'll hear me reference this as the slide deck. It's very similar to Microsoft PowerPoint, the slide presentation, but for some reason, Google's just gotten the name. People are calling the Google Slides a slide deck. Another thing you could do is, if you don't want to add it to your drive, but you want to have it for later, you can bookmark it. And by clicking on the star right here, it turns blue. And so that tells me I bookmarked it, and I can put it to my bookmark bar. Or if I have a folder within my bookmark bar, I can put it in, my Google folder, or I could create or choose another folder that's not here. So if I did put it on my bookmark bar, it would show up here. And if I've got too many things on my bookmark bar, if I hit the arrows to the far right, it shows up here to let me know there's more things on my bookmark bar, but I just ran out of room. If I ever want to delete anything on my bookmark bar, all I have to do is come up here and hit delete, and it will delete what's up there. So then if I delete enough, then I can get that, this last presentation slide deck up there as well. Any questions about that? Feel free, if I've lost you already, you can unmute yourself or put it in chat. Again, I don't want, hopefully, you know, if you've got nerves right now or anxiety over this online PD or using Google, I don't want you to be overwhelmed right here in the beginning. All right. So if you look here on slide 1, I do have some links here that you can go to. Most of the time I am not going to be in the presentation mode in the slide deck because I'll be going back and forth through Google Classroom. But I do want to let you know there are links here. So if you're not in the presentation mode, to how to get to the links, all you have to do is click on this once, and then it'll bring up, hey, this is linked to this website, and you can click on this website right here. So here's some other workshops the Learning Technology Center is doing. Here's my YouTube channel, and here's a LTC community. So I know many teachers out there have created a virtual classroom with different links that they want their students to go to. So if this is something interests you and you don't know how to create this, let me know. I know I do have a workshop on June 8th helping teachers create their virtual classroom in Google Slides. So, but if you can't wait until June 8th, let me know and I can walk you through to get you started there. Okay, a couple things here. I've got a sign-in sheet here for you to fill out for today's workshop, so fill that out. Again, if you can't access it right now, you can fill it out after the workshop this morning. Here I've got the slide deck, and I on 2B and 2C explain how you can add it to your bookmark bar or add it to your drive so you can have access to it after today. If some people are still wanting to print this, I do have a printable PDF file here for you that you can access to print as well. And then the recording will be on the YouTube channel, and then also I believe Diane is putting it out there for you as well. So a little bit about me. My name is Lisa Schwartz, and I did teach in the Quincy Public School District for 19 years. I taught various subjects, 6th through 9th grade. I did teach self-contained for 4 years, so I taught all subjects. And then when I moved to the middle school, I mainly taught computers and computer science. The last 2 years I have been working with the Learning Technology Center here in Illinois. And my role has been as a regional ed tech coordinator, but what I spend most of my time doing is giving professional development and working with teachers. And the region I work with here is in green. It's 10 ROEs and the school districts within those ROEs. So if you haven't heard of the Learning Technology Center before, feel free to check it out here. Slide 4 talks about it. We're not a business. We're not here selling you anything. We're trying to help you with your technology needs. And my role is the professional development. Here on slide 5, here's some other things that you can check out too if you would like to learn more about the LTC. So to get started here, I think I put it here on slide 1. So if you haven't used Google Slides much, so in the presentation mode, you would just see the slide, but down here you could put notes. So I put a note here, I just put a question. Hopefully you can think about how can you use Google Classroom to better teach or communicate with your students and parents, especially during this time of remote learning, and who knows what school will look like here in the fall as well. Here on slide 6, we are going to, I'm going to kind of give you a Google overview if you're brand new to Google, and then we'll dive into Google Classroom. I did put up here, and I failed to say, that if you want to add your name in the chat, and because I know you guys are coming from different schools within District 87, so people can see who's all here and feel free what you teach or what you do there as well. So you can put that in chat if you would like. So anytime you're working with Google Apps, you want to make sure you are using the Google Chrome web browser. And the reason being is because they work well together, they play nicely. So when I'm talking about the Chrome web browser, again, I'm not able to have much interaction with you right now. You know, very different for you and I, because we're used to having that human interaction and people asking questions. So if anyone is lost out there, or you're, you know, if I'm going way too fast or you don't understand what I'm saying, I love questions. So feel free to put it in the chat. If it works out that you feel comfortable unmuting yourself, if someone's out there that could help me with the chat, because sometimes when I'm talking to you and about the slide deck and showing you things, I'm not necessarily always looking at the chat. So feel free if someone wants to, if there's a bunch of questions saying, oh, wait, Lisa, I don't get this, or you got a lot of people confused, let me know, I'll stop. It's just like in a classroom. So, and everyone's coming here with different knowledge and experiences, just like a classroom. But going back here to the Chrome web browser, then some of you might use Microsoft Internet Explorer, or, you know, with you guys being a Microsoft school in the past, that might have been your go-to web browser. You'll want to switch over to the Chrome web browser using the apps and G Suite apps for education, because again, they play nicely together. Here's what I'm talking about. So I had a teacher email me the other day and say, hey, we can't get voice typing to work in Google Docs. The number one thing I said is check to see if you're in the Google Chrome web browser. She checked. She said, sure enough, they were opening up Google Docs in Safari. And not all of the functions and tools are available in the different web browsers out there. So the voice typing works on Google Docs when you're in the Google Chrome web browser. Another thing is you can create multiple Chrome profiles. If you look up here in the right-hand corner, my Chrome profile that I've logged in here is my work account. And then my Google account I'm logged in here is my work account. Can I have other Google accounts tied, you know, linked or opened up through my my work account Chrome profile? I can, but again, sometimes if I am in my Chrome web profile, I might get confused, or I might open up my personal account. And then sometimes if I am opening up that personal account, if I add things to my drive, it might go to my work account instead of my personal account. So I don't know if you saw in the beginning here that when I switched over to my personal account, I am logged in my Chrome profile, in my personal account, and my Google account here. So if you have other kids at your house that you're using the same computer, you might want to not add other accounts under your Chrome profile so that it doesn't, you don't get error messages, especially with using your work account with District 87, then it may say you don't have access to some of these files if it's outside of your district. So if at any time this may not make sense to you right now, that's why I have some links here that you can go back to look at, to understand. Because again, when I did this in the beginning, you know, a few years ago when I started learning about Google, I would have multiple accounts here open, and then I would think I saved it to my drive. I added it to my drive and I go back later, it's not there. Well, it was in my other account. So what I try to do here then, I try to make sure I'm signed out of these accounts. I usually don't even have accounts here, but I kept them there so that you could see what I was talking about. Again, this may not make any sense to you right now, but just if you can kind of remember, oh yeah, that lady talked about something about Chrome profiles or Google accounts, you can maybe go back to this slide deck and look at slide 7 for access to some of these. If not, you could Google it and see what you can find for the answer as well. So again, I do realize you guys are switching over to Google. Again, I realize this may be some of your first times experiencing the G Suite apps for education. And if you look here on slide 8, it just talks about Google's mission, why they are offering all of this for free on the front end to just make it accessible. And we're seeing this right now during this time of remote learning, that yeah, we might have access to all of these tools, but we don't have the connectivity. We have students without devices. We have students with devices, but they can't get connected to the internet. So on the tool side of it, Google's trying to help eliminate it, that it can be universally accessible. Here, what is the G Suite for Education? So you might have heard me talk about the G Suite apps for education. These are the apps or applications that Google has available to us that we can use within the education setting. Here on slide 10 and 11, this talks about some of the apps that we have, and you might have heard about some of these. And again, don't feel overwhelmed if you haven't heard about these, or if you have no idea what some of these do. Just know there's plenty out there, and when the time arises that you need to know to learn it, know that there are resources out there that you can. So again, today we're going to focus on Google Classroom. And again, this is going to be an introduction. If some of you have already experienced Google Classroom and have been using it with your students, please feel free, unmute yourself, tell us some of your examples as we go through today, or what you have found that works for you in your classroom. Again, if we were in person, I would hope to have more dialogue and more interaction among the participants today. Because that's one nice thing about the workshops and about working with other teachers is, you know, the more brains we have, the better, and you can maybe see the different sides of it. So some of the things I may suggest today may not work for you in your classroom, but maybe someone else out there can speak up and say, oh, this is what's worked for me in my classroom.
Lisa?
Yes.
This is Holly there. I'm from Sheridan.
Yes,
Elementary school. I'm a library specialist there. Hi, Lisa. One question that I'm hoping you'll address is that a lot of our kindergartners and first grade teachers have tablets in their classroom. So if you can talk some as you're making your presentation about how Google Classroom works on tablets as well, and some of the tricky bits about using it in that way, I think that will be helpful for this group too.
Okay, and when you say tablets, is it iPads? Is it, what kind of tablets?
I think we have some Samsung tablets, but other than that, someone else could speak to that better than.
Okay.
We all have iPads. The first in kindergarten and first does, I know.
Okay. All right. So remind me, let me make a note of that. And Holly, you were saying that, so to how to, like the user interface on an iPad or a Samsung tablet for Google Classroom?
Right.
Okay. Okay. And so again, you know, we all come here with different background knowledge and use of Google. If I'm going too slow for any of you, feel free. You can, I gave you the slide deck. You can go through that. What's nice about this online learning is even if you were in the workshop, I would give you permission to work ahead, to look at the slide deck. You know how you best learn. So you do what you need to do to get the most out of today's workshop. Again, the goal here is to introduce you to Google Classroom and give you some ideas and resources that you can further your knowledge within Google Classroom and how to use it with students. So again, how does Google Classroom work? What's nice about this is when I first started using this a few years ago, it was the biggest takeaway I loved about this was it helped me become more organized with my students, especially my students who were absent. So, you know, the next day, if a student was absent the day before, they'd come and say, oh, Mrs. Schwartz, you know, did I miss anything in class? And, you know, I'd have to, you know, think back, okay, what hour was a student in? What did we do? That went away. All I had to do was, let's check Google Classroom. They didn't even have to ask me, because if they did have technology, if they had a device or the internet access at home, and they were feeling up to it, they could even check the Google Classroom on the day they were sick. So they didn't have to wait to come back to school the next day to get their work. So my background is with Quincy. We were and still are a Microsoft school district, but as a computer teacher, I wanted to give the students a chance to compare Microsoft and Google and teach them some other software out there, because it's, in our world, it's constantly changing. Will Google be around in the next 10 years? I don't know that. You don't know that. But the way things are looking, they will be. But it's constantly changing out there with technology. So take a deep breath here with us today, and hopefully you're open-minded to learn something new. But here on slide 13, again, you can store and share online resources for classes. I can even put YouTube videos and websites in Google Classroom. It's all organized there. I don't have to put it on a Google Doc, or I didn't have to put it on a Microsoft Word document and post the links that I wanted the kids to go to. I can post that all in Google Classroom. And then what's nice about this is Google Classroom also integrates with Google Drive. So again, like I showed you in the beginning, how you could add the slide deck to your Drive. Google Classroom on the back end, once you create a classroom, it creates a folder for you in Google Drive. You didn't have to do that even. So I'll walk you through that process as well. So to get started here, if you look at slide 14, I've got setting up for your class. So what I'm going to do right now, you've got this slide deck here. If you best learn from that, feel free to do that. I'm going to jump over to my classroom to show you. So I have my classroom open, but I'll go ahead and close it here, and let's look. So how do we go to open up our classroom? There's a couple different ways. Sometimes school districts will have it on their main page, and students can just go to Google Classroom that way. If you, again, want to get used to this, if you see the waffle over here, so all I did was came up here, hit the plus sign to get a new tab. And then on mine, I've got my Gmail, images, and the waffle. So if I come right over here to the waffle, I can find the app that I want to work in. So I want to work in Classroom. I can click on Classroom, and then it opens up my classroom.google.com. If another way to go to it, any of the apps out there that Google has, you can type in the classroom.google.com, drive.google.com, docs.google.com. So anything, whatever app you want, you can always hit, type it in and then google.com. If you see when I started typing in Classroom, it brought it up, hey, do you want classroom.google.com? If I do, I can just hit enter and it will go to that. Or if I put my cursor at the end and hit enter, and it goes to that. So as you can see, I can have 2 tabs open of my classroom if I needed to. So I'm just going to keep one tab open. So right here, what you're seeing is the classes that I have in my Google Classroom. And how do I create a class? Again, all I have to do is come up here and hit the plus sign. So if you see a plus sign, that's either a plus sign up here, you're adding a new tab, plus sign here. This is where you can join a class or create a class. So if you're creating a class for the first time, you just have to come here and hit create a class. I know with District 87, I think Jim and the tech department, they were going to roster the classes for you on the back end. So you probably won't even have to go and create a class here. But just in case, here's how you create a class. Here's how kids would join a class if for some reason the students aren't rostered. What I mean by that is that Skyward and Google Classroom play nicely together, so they integrate well. So Jim can push the Skyward, the kids who are rostered for your class, push them out right into your Google Classroom. So that saves a few steps, especially with the younger students. But if not, they could go up here, join a class, and then they would put in their class code. So the class code is when you created a class, here is the class code right here. So again, that's kind of small. So if you needed to display it for kids to join the class, all you have to do is click on that to enlarge the screen. And here's the class code. Now, if that's kind of confusing, you don't know if those 2 letters here in the beginning are I's or L's or 1s, what you could do, you could go into your settings here. So another thing within the Google, the G Suite apps for education, anytime you see a gear, anytime you see 3 dots or 3 lines, that means there's other options under there that you can click on those and it pulls up a menu. So in this case, so if you don't get anything else out of this workshop, hopefully you'll remember the gear, the 3 dots, and the 3 lines have more options. They have menus under them. So if I click on the gear, here's some settings here. So I talked about the class code. I can't personally change it, but if I go into the gear and the settings, I could change it right here. I could reset it. I could disable it. If for some reason I don't want other students to join, I could disable it. I could display it, copy, or reset it. So if I hit reset, it resets it to a different code. So then if it's a better code, if I have to have students join, that's better. I like that because I always had problems with the difference between I's and L's and 1s for the students to access, because a few years ago, Google Classroom wasn't integrated with Skyward or some of the other student information systems out there. Okay, so that's how to join a class that you've created. Now, I don't know if you've seen on yours, do you have a Google Meets link on your classroom now? If anybody can shake their head if you've been using Google Classroom. Do you have this Meet links there yet? Okay, someone in chat said yes, perfect, thank you. So I don't know if you've been meeting with your students using Google Meets or not. And again, if someone wants to let me know. But the biggest problem when we went to this remote learning back in March, that we were having students join into the Google Meet before the teacher was there, or they would stay after the teacher. So what's nice about this Google Meets link here, then if a student would join this, they would just click on it. And right now I'm in the teacher view. So it's saying no one else is here and I can join now. But for a student, until the teacher was there, the student couldn't join. So if I go to my student account here, right now with Google, we don't have student accounts. Let's see. The menu's not coming up. Let me see if I can go to it here. All right. Give me a second here. So if I go to my student account, and so this is Blake, and the reason I have a student account is just so that I could demonstrate here. Google doesn't allow you to see the student side of it. I know that's been a big ask of many teachers out there. So maybe someday we'll see that you can add the student view that you could see what the students see. So with the student view, if you do use Google Meets, if you just click on this right here, it's saying, hey, so I'm in the student view. This is Blake trying to enter our Google Meets. It won't let him enter until the teachers enter. So just letting you know this if you use Google Meets in the fall with your students. So another thing though, once you are in the Meets, the Google Meet, you will want to, before you leave as a teacher, you will want to remove the students if they haven't left to control that. Because if you do leave the meeting and the students are still there, they could still talk and have a meeting without you. But with this, using this link now through your Google Classroom, this doesn't allow the students to join before the teacher. So I've talked about the class name and code Google Meet link. So I've talked about a little bit about the class settings. A couple other things here. So my theme right now, I just used one that Google has. There's many places out there that you can add, upload photos or add different themes. So, you know, some teachers are even uploading photos of their class, of class photo here. So again, that's, you have choice and that's up to you. If you look up here, I've got 4 tabs here. I've got the stream, classwork, people, and grades. So with the stream right here, this will show me for this particular class. So many of you, you might have a class of just, you might just have one Google Classroom of all of your subjects for your students that you have, and that is perfectly fine. Right here, it would say upcoming, what was due. So right now, due Friday, this I Wonder assignment. The students could click on here to go to the assignment if they want, but if not, I'll show you how they can access the classwork. The stream, you do have some options here. So right here, anytime I post a new assignment, I could have the assignment show up here. I could have the full assignment. I could have just a shortened assignment here as well. So I'll show you what I mean by that. You could also have the students have a conversation here. So students could post questions, they could post comments here. You do have discretion to turn that off as well. So if I look at this assignment here that I posted yesterday, if I click on these 3 dots here, I can go and edit that assignment. I can copy the link. I'm seeing if I have any students here who, if I had posted, I don't, but I can show you another one that I've got. So if another thing here with the 3 dots, I can move this to the top of the stream if I want it to be at the top of the stream. Again, I could edit it, delete it, or I can copy this link. So if I show you, so right here, share something with your class. So in stream, if you want to share just something right here, a message with your class, you can. You can post if you want them to look at a video, you can do that as well. Mainly with the stream, with my students, I left it open. I taught them about digital citizenship and talked about them typing and, you know, communicating with others. Of course, in the beginning, the students just thought it was neat. Hey, what I'm saying is on the Google Stream. And some of the things were appropriate, some were not. So again, that was a good teaching lesson to teach about digital citizenship. You as a teacher can go and delete anything that's said. You can even mute the students as well. Let me, if
Lisa, can I ask a question real quick? So I teach kindergarten, so like my Google Classroom is going to be operated by their parents.
Okay.
You know, I mean, they're not going to be doing that themselves. So like, if I'm hearing you correctly, the stream is going to be like a place where if we're on more remote learning at the beginning of the year, this would be a place where they would like introduce themselves to their classmates and maybe post a picture, and we would kind of do like, you know, get to know you type of things if we have to start the year remotely.
That could be an option. There's several different options you could do that, but stream could could be one. Again, it depends on what you like. With technology, you can see there's probably just within the G Suite apps for education, and I'm going to show you some things today, there's multiple ways to do the same thing. So Chris, I'm glad you brought that up. I think you could do that on stream, but it could get to be a lot. You know, they have to scroll down and see everything. So there may be a different way we could do that. Would one way be better than the other? No, it just depends on what your objective is for that, and if you want them to go back later to look at what they posted. But yeah, I like that idea, Chris. That could be one way to do that. So here with Stream then, I usually don't post things in Stream if I want the students to look at it, or for class if it's an assignment. Could you? Yeah, and like Chris said, you could share with the class this way. So I was trying to go to a different class here, and I just clicked on. Okay, so you can see right here, if I click on these 3 lines over here, I can go to my other classes. And I was thinking I had another class that I had where students commented. My apologies. Okay, so right here on this one, you know, here's a student. This is just, I was able to join this with my personal account. Someone could put down, I am needing help with turning in my assignment. Can someone help me? So again, the stream, I try to teach my middle school students that they could help each other. Could some of the younger students maybe help each other? Or like Chris said, parents are going to be, you know, maybe using the Google Classroom in the fall for their students. Parents could post here, hey, I'm needing help turning this in. Can someone help me? So it's not necessarily always, they don't have to turn to the teacher. They can have other students help them. And for some students or parents out there, that, you know, might boost their confidence, like, oh, I can help someone, you know, with this question. So for example here, if Lisa posted something that was inappropriate, do you see these 3 dots here? As the teacher here, I could delete it, and I had to do this many times because since then, Google has implemented this mute. I could just mute her. Instead of turning off stream for all students, instead of punishing the whole class, I could just mute a student. If this student, after several times, kept posting inappropriate things, I could mute that student. Or, you know, maybe not necessarily inappropriate, but just kept on putting hello or good morning and just filling up the stream with unwanted material. You can mute that person. You could delete any messages that's here too. You can move it to the top, copy the link as well. So this is on the teacher side, and by clicking on the 3 dots there. So again, I'm clicking on the 3 lines over here to go between my classes. Can I have several tabs open of all of my classes? I can do that. So again, several ways to maneuver and your way around Google Classroom. Again, if I come up back here to the gear, so I talked about here's a class code. Under the gear, under general, we've got the stream. So right now I do have it turned on where students can post and comment. If for some reason I saw a majority of the kids, even after trying to teach them about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate to post to the stream, I could turn it off where they could only comment on the teacher post. So if I posted something, then they could just comment on it. Or again, if I needed to, I could turn that completely off and just put only teachers can post or comment. But again, if you see 1 or 2 students abusing the stream, you can mute the students. Again, right here, you can show deleted items. That again, this is only the teachers can view deleted items. So in case if for some reason you had to go back to see what you deleted, whether it was what a student said, you can turn this back on to go back to see that. You can send a summary of your Google Classroom to your parents, but again, with the younger grades, and especially if we do have more remote learning in the fall, that it sounds like parents, you know, will help their students maneuver around Google Classroom. But you do have the option here of the parents getting email summaries. There's pros and cons to this as well, but what they won't get to see the Google Classroom like they see if they logged in as their child. They would just get an email about any missing work their child might have, upcoming work, or class activity. So again, you can invite parents to get email summaries, but you don't have to. I don't know if District 87 will have that set up on the back end or not.
Lisa, can I say something about that?
Yeah, please do.
I'm Stacy, by the way, from Washington.
Yeah, hi, Stacey.
I tried to set this up when we started remote learning here a couple months ago, and not all my students log in yet. So the technology department told me that parents won't be able to log in under their personal email, so the parents will be logging in as the student. Does that kind of answer the question you were starting to ask about District 87? The parents can get the parent emails too, but they're going to actually be logged in as the student.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because how many districts do, to go along with what Stacy said, is that whether it's District 87 or another account, like you'll notice that even with your personal account, you can't log in to your Google Classroom to see what it looks like. So only people who are within the District 87 Google domain who have a Google account under District 87 will be able to log in. But I know some districts, they don't turn on the guardian email summaries here. So again, I don't know what the District 87 policy is on that, but you can turn it on and off right here as well. Any questions for Stacy of what she was saying too? Thank you, Stacy. Okay. All right, and then here, Google Meet, again, you can turn this off if you don't want this link to be visible to students, but even if it is visible, the students can't go into the Meet until the teacher's there. So you do have choice. So again, with technology, it does help with differentiation. With the students, you can just come over here, turn things on and off as you need them. And then with the grading calculations, I know with a lot of, pre-K to second grade classrooms, they may not necessarily take grades or need it to sync to Skyward, all of the grades within Google Classroom. So again, you can turn that off if you don't want that on. So stream, hopefully you'll get a better understanding as we go throughout this Google Classroom introduction here of what stream can or can't do. But it's basically a place where when the teacher posts a new assignment, you can see that. If I go back up here to the gear, I think I skipped this classwork on the stream. So right now I have it showing condensed notifications. If I want it to show attachments and details, I can, but I have turned that off because they can see that under the classwork tab. If I wanted to hide all notifications, I could, so then it wouldn't show any of the notifications up there on stream. Again, it's what you get used to, and however you have this set up, you'll want to make sure you explain to your students and your parents if they're logging in for their child into Google Classroom, how it's set up, because it is, it could be set up differently if they have multiple teachers that are having a Google Classroom. But again, with most of kindergarten through second grade, all of those classes are self-contained. So you probably would be controlling what the classroom looks like all day long for your students. So if I go, let me go back to my slide deck here. So again, will you remember everything from this workshop right now? You won't. It's when you encounter a problem. So again, feel free to go back to this slide deck and or the recording later on. Here's on slide 15, I kind of went through that, and I took a screenshot of my screen. And so we're going to be, we're going to be going into then the classwork tab. And what's nice about this, when you assign work to the students, then how the workflow system works is that it puts their name here with the assignment. So, and it connects directly to the teacher and student Google Drive accounts. And as you can see, it applies the file naming conventions through the assignment creation process, and I'll walk you through that. Then what the students can do when they're done with their assignment, then there's a turn in button that they can click on to turn in their assignment. Or I guess anytime I'm saying students, the parents. So let me switch back to my classroom here and go to classwork. So again, I talked about stream. Now I'm talking about the tab called classwork. If you see right up here, I've got this big create button. It's the plus sign. The plus sign is usually where I can add things. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Here's my Google Meet. It's got the video camera here. I can click on that too and go to my Google Meet. I've got a Google Calendar. So not only does Google Classroom integrate with my Google Drive, it also integrates with Google Calendar. So especially for parents out there who are helping their child, and even for the students, it creates a calendar of all of your Google classes. So if I go over here to my calendars, my differentiation workshop right here, it shows here's some assignments I have. If this is too busy for you, you can turn classes off and on so that you can't see. So for the differentiation workshop, it's the purple. So it just shows the purple, and I can see what assignments I have when they're due. Okay. So as you can see, I can turn things on and off as I need them on the calendars. And each calendar was created on the back end. I didn't have to touch my Google Calendar at all. As soon as I created the class, it created a calendar for it. Again, when I created this class, it created a folder in my Drive. How do I get to my Drive for those of you who are new to Google? Again, I could just click on it right up here and go to my Drive folder. But another way I could go to it is I could create a new tab up here, go to my waffle. I could go to my Drive here. I could type in Drive. And as soon as I type in Drive, it brings up drive.google.com. I could also go down here to my Google Drive. This is in, Google has an algorithm of the websites I go to the most, and it put it there. If it's not here, I could always add, I'm in my Google Chrome web browser here. I could always go here and add a shortcut, put the name and put in the URL here of the shortcut to my Drive or whatever it is, whether it's another website or not. So lots of different ways you can go to your Drive. And again, the Drive is, this shows I've got a folder called Classroom. Again, I didn't create this. It's going to magically appear there once you create a classroom. And then within Classroom, I've got the differentiation workshop. Again, I didn't create this folder within this folder. So if I go over, if I click here, this shows my Drive and Classroom. So this is the file path of it. And it has a person in here to say that it's a shared folder. And here's all of my names of my classrooms. So I have a classroom called Differentiation Workshop, Google Level 1 certification, and so forth. Again, if I want to go to one of them, I can just double click on it. I can, there we go. And here's all of the assignments that I've created, and they're in their own folders. Here's some just files out there that's not in a folder. But again, I didn't have to create this or organize it. So yesterday when I created the new assignment, I Wonder, it created a folder. So all of the kids' assignments will go in there. This will help you be organized. And again, it's saving you time. So I could just go to my Drive right there to look at that. But Do I have to go to my drive to look at the student work? I don't. I can do that all from Classroom as well, and I'll show you how to do that. So if I go up here, well, before I go to create, if you kind of look, do you see here, I've got some assignments here. I've got, if you look here, I've got some due dates. I've got a draft. And that allows you to, when you create an assignment, if you're not ready to push it out to students, you can set it up as a draft. It'll stay right here until I'm ready to assign it to the students. If I keep scrolling down, I've got some under insert learning, some under questions, math, chapter 5, quiz. So, and farm, you can decide what topics you put there. So, you know, if you're using one Google Classroom for all of your students and you know, teach multiple subjects, I think everyone's self-contained that's with us today, unless if you are a specials teacher or something, you might work with another teacher on their Google Classroom, and I can teach you how to add other teachers to that as well. But you can set it up, set the topics up however you want. There's different ways people set them up. Some people set them up by the week that they're doing it. Some people even put a number here in front of it to help organize it too. Again, you will find what works best for you, but you'll want to make sure you explain this to the students and your parents that are accessing their students' Google accounts or Google Classroom account here to know your thought process of how you organize things. Because even though I've got things organized under insert learning, if you look at the due dates, there could be several due dates. I could have something due this week from insert learning, something due from questions. So they could see it here, but then also don't forget on stream, you might think, oh, that is confusing. But on stream over here, it'll show what's upcoming as far as what's due and when it's due, and shows the assignment here. So again, you know, I remember when I was going into Google, starting with Google Classroom in my class, that I was learning with the students. We were a Microsoft school district. I just had the opportunity, being a computer teacher, that I could experiment and try this out, showed the kids. We made mistakes. I failed. And the kids were very forgiving. So just like today, some of you might be asking questions out there. I might not know the answer, but that's how we have to change our mindset, that we don't have to know everything. We can learn from our students, and it's okay. We're all on this journey together, and with technology, it's hard to keep up with. Things are constantly changing. So give yourself, you know, a break. Sometimes teachers we are so hard on ourselves and think we need to know everything. My suggestion, just don't start something new if it's your day of getting evaluated. But again, many students out there are very forgiving and love to step up to help out. So again, let's go over here. I'm still under the tab classwork and go to create. And when I hit create right here, I can create several different things. I can create an assignment. Right now, if you have your Google Classroom up, you might not have Kami assignment in there. I've got the extension Kami assignment in the app here that I can manipulate PDFs. And so don't panic. You might, in the fall, when District 87 looks at the list of extensions and other apps to integrate with Google Classroom, you may have other ones here. I know Jim has been, and the tech department's been letting you email them with different apps and extensions that you would like to have integrate within your Google account. You can do a quiz assignment, a question, just material, or reuse posts. So the biggest thing with Google Classroom is from year to year, if you're using the same assignments, you can reuse a post from the previous year. So some of you who got a chance to use Google Classroom this past year, you can reuse that post in your new classroom without recreating everything. And then I can even create a topic from here. Do I have to create a topic from here? No, I can create it from the assignment. So again, multiple ways to do some of the same things. You just go about doing it the way you feel most comfortable with. And sometimes it's the way you learned first. So I go to hit create assignment. I can put a title in. So if this assignment was, let's say, they're learning about their environment. And then I could put instructions here if I want, especially maybe for parents that are helping out with Google Classroom. You might want to have some instructions here. Do I have to? No, I don't have to. You don't have to, because you could have the instructions on the assignment. So if I come down here to add, I can add an assignment right from Google Drive. I can add an assignment if I have the link or from a file, or I can even add a YouTube video. So if I go to my Google Drive here, so let's say I want to add this slide deck on the farm. All I have to do is click on it and hit add, and then it adds it to the assignment. And this one, it's not letting me add because I don't own it. I can only attach files that I have permission to share. I just need to make a copy of it first. So let me pick something else real quick here, and I will go through that farm unit here in a second. So Google Drive, that's my recent, but I can go to my drive. I can pull anything out of my drive. So how I've got it, my drive, I've got it, my folders here. And so I can go to a folder and pick anything from my folder. I can upload something and just drag it here if I want. I can go to shared drives, get something from a shared drive, or anything even from my starred drive in my folder. So if I go back to my drive, let me go to, and if I just want to upload this I Wonder Thought, it's a Google drawing, hit add, and then, so it's added there, then I can have the students view the file. If I want the students to be able to write on this file, then I would want to make a copy for each student. So before Google had this, what I did, I put it out there, students can edit file, and guess what happened? Students were able to edit the file, but however they edited it, then it was deleting it on other students' files. So if you make a copy for each student, this will make a copy for each of the students. It'll have their name, and then it'll have the I Wonder Thought Cloud mental image. So I'll show you what it looks like on the student side here in a second. And then what's nice about this, if you did need to assign this to certain students, you didn't want all students to have this, I could go right here to all students and click off, oh, I don't want this student to have it, but I just want, this student, then I can just assign it to the students that I want it. Again, for differentiation, if you have to meet, 504 IEP plan, again, if this student gets this assignment, it looks the same, but you had to modify it a little bit, you could just send that out to the one student without, having separate instructions for the student. Like, okay, instead of doing 10 of these, only do 5 of them. You could select that for them before you assigned it to that student. So it helps them out. If not, you can assign it to all students. You can give them points here. So how many ever points you want. If it's ungraded, you can put ungraded, but if you've got points, you can assign them points as well. Again, let's say I put 10 points and later on I said, oh, I wanted it to be worth 20 points. I can change that. When I first started to use Google Classroom, I would forget to change the points here. And so I could always go back in and change them even after the students have this assignment. Due date, again, with your littles, you may or may not want to have a due date. Again, if parents are helping out, they may see, oh, that due date there, and that might give them more of a timeline to get it done and get it turned in. Again, you'll know what works best for your students and your parents. And then topic. So I'll go ahead and put a due date here. I can put the time, optional if I want it by 11:59 p.m. on May 20th, I can do that. Topic, I can put, if this goes under a certain topic, if it's under science, social studies, however I created my topics, I can do that as well. So If I don't want it under a certain topic, I can just leave it no topic. And then there is a place that you can insert a rubric here if you need to, and then the originality reports. What the originality reports is basically it checks their paper for plagiarism. So I don't know, I might have someone unmute or tell us in chat if you would use that much in K to second grade. So then right here, I can assign it if I'm ready to assign it. If I'm not for sure, I can save it as a draft and or schedule. So if you see this, schedule. So if I know I don't want them to start working on it ahead of time, if I want to wait and have them have this at 8 a.m. tomorrow, I can schedule it out then. You know, if you've got a lot of time on your hands and you've created a bunch of these assignments out there for the students, just hit draft so they don't feel overwhelmed by seeing all of the assignments. I know when this remote learning started, my youngest son, who's in 7th grade, one of his teachers shared out about 10 assignments all at once, and he just shut down. He's like, Mom, I have all of this to do. And I'm like, I tried to say, okay, let's put it in pieces and just do one thing at a time and don't worry about the rest. But that just, again, was overwhelming for him. Again, for some people, they want to see all of the assignments. So again, do what works best for you and your students. So if I go ahead right now and go ahead and hit assign, it's going to go and be pushed out there. And now I hit assign and I think, oh, I made a mistake. I need to go back and change something. You can, so don't panic. Again, most of the things that you do, you can go back and change. So right here, it goes on my classwork page. It goes to environment, or it's just right here at the top. I didn't put it under a topic. If I go to my stream, what's on my stream? It just shows the teacher posted a new assignment called environment. I didn't put anything there. That just is on the back end. That's how Google has it programmed to do. If I don't want that there, remember I can go up to the gear and change that under the classwork on the stream. I have showed condensed notification, so it doesn't show the actual assignment. If I don't want that notification at all, I can hit hide notification. And again, that was under the gear. So if I go back to my classwork and, you know, this is a teacher view, and I see, oh, you know, I put due May 20th and I want to change that. Click the 3 dots and go to edit. And I can go in and change almost everything on here. If you notice, there's one thing that's kind of grayed out that I can't change. So I've got the drop down arrow here. I can change things right here. Do you remember where this is where I was able to change it, where students could view file or edit file? If you make a copy for each student, you cannot go back and change that later and say, oh, I want to just have the students view it. So you can do one of 2 things then. If you know you messed up on that part, you would just have to go hit the 3 dots and hit delete. You can't edit that. So if I went back to create, again, what am I talking about? Under create assignment, if I added something here to their assignment, I added this and I hit add. If I made it make a copy for each student, I can't go back in and change that. What I can go in and change, if I put students can edit file, I could change that to students can view file. So if you do make a mistake on either of these 2, you can go back in and change it. Another thing you can change is if I go up here, for some reason, if you have 2 classes to post the same assignment to, you can click on the 2 classes that you have. But do you see how this is grayed out? I can't change it to what students get the assignment. So if I wanted to, just do one class at a time and then select the students or unselect the students I don't want to have the assignment. Another thing that's grayed out when I assign to more than one class at a time, up here, assign, hit the drop down arrow here. Right here it says schedule. I cannot schedule it. So if you're assigning this to several classes, I can't schedule it out for several classes. All right. I'll pause for a moment. I know there's some things in chat. I haven't shown you all of these things, but what are some of the questions or concerns you have right now with the classwork? I appreciate Stacy stepping up and asking or helping out with some of the questions there. So I appreciate that. So Stacy, I don't know, were you able to answer someone's question about connecting to a classroom, a specialist?
I replied, I don't know if it answered her question.
Okay.
I think it'd probably be best for everybody to have their own classes. I know my daughter's a member of a couple of different classrooms, and it's easy for her to just click on the one she wants. It's not confusing for her that way.
Okay. As a teacher, someone asked, as a special teacher or even a special ed teacher. So if I wanted to add someone to my classroom, all I had to do, so here's, again, I'm on the teacher side. I go up here, click on this person, and then the plus sign. I can invite teachers. Again, you'll only be able to invite District 87 teachers here. And then if you invite them, then they have control over the classroom. They can't delete the classroom, but they can add things to it. They have control to do what you do in the classroom by adding to the stream or classwork. They're just another teacher in there. So they have access to it. So if you don't want them to have access to all of that, you might want to think twice about adding teachers. But again, have a conversation with them. And I don't see, I think it benefits the students, especially with a special ed teacher. If they're going out to that teacher or meeting with that teacher, then they could know what's going on, what they're expected to do in the classroom as well. Any pros or cons you see about adding a teacher, another teacher with classroom?
Well, if we were, so let's say we are on remote learning and we need to, like we're pushing out the same assignments for all the grade level, like would it make sense to have one classroom for like all of our grade level in a building where, like the 3 teachers there would share that account, and so that parents are getting that? Or, would that just be too much to have like an individual teacher have their classroom and then have one for the whole entire grade level?
I think it's how well you work together. Again, I don't know on the back end, are you guys, usually K through 2nd grade, you don't give letter grades. So
right, but for remote learning, we're, giving like classwork and assignments and things like that. So
if you're all teachers and then they could see, there's pros and cons to that, but I don't see why you couldn't give that a try to see how it works.
I'm just thinking, like, if we were taking turns posting to that, then it would be one less step, if we were each of us tapping into the same grade level. And I don't know if that would work for other buildings or not. I'm just, trying to think of like options of if we're in person versus being on remote throughout the fall.
Yeah. I like that idea, Chris. I just know, how sometimes teachers are, want it their certain way, and their way may not be similar to another teacher they work with, but I guess it depends on your relationship with those other teachers. But yeah, if you do try that, I'd be interested to see how that worked if we do have remote learning in the fall. There was another question in chat. And I don't remember what it was that I was going to try to answer. Oh, I don't remember the question, but I know I was going to show you this. So if I go over here to the 3 lines, I'm in my differentiation workshop. I can go to my classes this way. And, you know, if I need to switch to a different class, I can. I also have the to-do area right here. If I click on to-do, this again shows what assignments out there that I've pushed out to my classes. It shows the assignment and it shows the class I pushed it out. So if you want to see it all in one place, you can. Again, if this is overwhelming for you as a teacher, don't even look there, but just know here's yet another place you can look at what was turned in, what was assigned. And you can see if I hover over it, I can click on it and you can see then here's the student work and here's what's assigned. And you can see that for this student, the attachment wasn't assigned. So they still got the assignment, but again, if he or she had IEP or a 504 plan or whatever it may be, you can allow for differentiation there. So again, that was under the to-do. I can also see, if you see I have it to review, I also have reviewed. There's no reviewed work here. And then, so I showed you the gear up there for the class differentiation workshop. Here is another gear, settings, right here for all classes. So I know someone put something about notifications in the chat, and I don't remember the exact question. But here's where, again, students or parents may or may not want this. The email notifications. So you can turn them off, on or off right here by just pushing that button. They're turned off. If I want to leave them on, then I have some other options. Do I want them to get notified when there's comments on your post? Do I want them to get notified when there's comments that mention you? Private comments on work. Okay. Of course, I want private comments on work. I want them to be notified to hopefully go check that. The classes you teach. Do you want late submissions of student work? Do you want to be notified? Do you want resubmissions of student work? Invitations to co-teach classes and or scheduled post published or failed right here as well. So you can turn these on and off. I know some people, and especially with some students, if they're getting emails, I don't know how often do your students check email at all? In 2nd grade even? I know most districts I work with, kindergarten and first, don't even look at their email.
No, they don't.
Okay. Thanks, Stacy. So here, I would only think the email notifications would be pertinent if the parents were checking their email, but the email is tied to the Google account. So again, that would have to be turned on for the kids if you wanted to do that. So for some of you, this might not even be a game changer since you don't use email. But if you are right here if you don't want to get all of these emails about late submissions or resubmissions, you can turn those off here. And right here, class notifications. Again, you can turn email and mobile notifications on or off for a class right here as well. So again, this was under the 3 lines to the left-hand side, and it's the settings, the gear settings right here. If I archived a class, I talked about if you reuse a post from a class, so from year to year, you'll want to archive your classes. But again, you can reuse posts from those classes. Right here, if I click on my archive class, you can see the classes that I have archived. I can always go back and see my assignments. And again, I can reuse these posts when I'm creating an assignment. So right here on the differentiation workshop, so I'm back at the beginning, I added in a new assignment, so it shows, as the teacher view, it's showing here what's due as well. So if I had assignments due in all of these other courses, it would be up there as well. But again, you might just have one class here with multiple different subjects here. and you can see what's due. You can see this is the open the folder in my Google Drive right here as well. And then I can open my gradebook right here. And then I've got 3 dots here. Again, I can move, edit, copy, or archive. So again, when you archive a class, you're not deleting it. It just goes into the archive folder and you can still access it. So if I go back to this classroom and I go back to classwork and I go up here to create, if I show you to, if I go down here to reuse a post, I can reuse a post from the class I archived if I want. If I don't want it from that class, I can click on whichever class I want to reuse a post from. But see, it shows me, oh, I've archived this class. So it's off of my, classroom homepage, but I can still access it. It's just a way to help you stay organized within Classroom.
Lisa,
Yeah.
this is Elena from Oakland.
Yeah, hi,
If we
Elena.
archive a class on our end, does it disappear for students in that class as well?
Students will be able to still access it, but they won't be able to join.
So would it still show up on their list of classrooms? It wouldn't go into an archive for them?
So no, if you see my
Okay.
screen, great question. Thanks for asking. So this is Blake, and this is a student here. So
Okay.
right now he's just in differentiation workshop. If I click on his archive classes, it shows here's the class he was in. I can see your assignments. I can see what he still has access to what he did.
But it would show up in archived classes for them.
Yes. Good
Okay.
question. Right.
Because we have, we think our district is going to be able to preload all of our kids in for us in the fall.
Uh-huh.
But as pre-K to 2 teachers, we will get a separate class for AM attendance, PM attendance, comments, anything on our report card kind of.
Uh-huh.
So we could theoretically archive all of those, and that would archive for any students in those too then. So that our students only are looking at one classroom.
Yeah, but since District 87's going to push it out and roster your classes for you, those students should only be in the AM class if they're in the AM class, correct?
They are. It's just that they end up with probably 6 to 8 maybe different places. So there'd be it'd be the same group of kids would have comments and AM attendance and PM attendance and reading language arts and math. And I think it would be easier for me and my families if I just had one spot for them instead of multiple things popping up, since this is new for them too.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Yeah, it would be good if they just had one classroom where they could see everything. Everything would be pushed out.
So I could go in myself and archive the ones I didn't want, and then they wouldn't see them either. Well, I mean, they'd be an archive, but it wouldn't just show up for them.
Yeah, it wouldn't be here on their screen. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking. So if you see right here, then this is the student view. Here's what the student sees. Here's what's due. And the student can, so if I go into, let me just click on going into this classroom. Again, I can, as a student, so Blake can share something with the class right here. They can add something here as well to the class, and then they can post it. And then I've got it set up where the other students can turn that on. So again, it is a teachable moment, and no matter what the age, you do need to go and post what's appropriate or talk about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So again, realize that you do have control over that you can turn that on and off, and even on and off just for one student too. You can mute that student. So again, so there's on the student side, you see that, okay, Lisa Schwartz posted a new assignment called Environment, posted a new assignment called I Wonder. So then classwork, that's where you need to train the students and the parents to go to find what they need to be working on. Could they find it from stream? They could, but some teachers may turn off the stream and may not have these messages pop up here. But under classwork then, you know, again, teach them about looking maybe at the due date, and then they can see what they need to work on. Do they have to? No, you know, again, some of these you might decide not to put the due date, but they can access the assignment then. So it says fun Christmas traditions from around the world. You can view assignment, and then here's the student view, what the students will be able to work on. I know with your district, you need to let them know what extensions you like. On your personal account, if you have time to look at some of these extensions, that would be great. Oh, it's asking me to sign in to with my Google account. And this is why the districts have to have a say over these extensions, because these extensions are gathering data from the students that I'm not for sure about. So I trust my tech department that they know what I can use and can't use, because again, on the back end, they are collecting data on our students that might not go in lines with the SOPA. And I think Jim and Diane are going to talk about that later this week as well in a session. I don't know if you signed up for that or, but I'm sure they'll record it that you can go back and look at it as well. So right here with this is an article from this website, and what this insert learning extension allows me to do, then I can put in a question right here for the students to answer. I can allow the students to highlight right on the page, and then come down here. Then the students can post, so I have a discussion. They can see what other students responded. And they can type in things. I can hit post, so then other students can see that. Again, they can answer these questions, and then when they're done with this, then they can turn it in. So what this allowed that student to do was interact with that material without going to another document to put in the answers. So again, with the younger students who couldn't read this, there are some extensions out there that it could read it to them. So that's how you can get around some of this material out there, that they could, there's extensions or other apps that can help you read the material for the student. So then when the student is done with this, so we've got, when I hit view assignment, so then if need be, the student can type in a class comment here, and then they could mark it as done. Another thing here, if they needed to add or create something. So when you're assigning work to them, you don't have to always assign a document or a drawing or an assignment to them. They could add or create something that they wanted to. They could hit add or create. If they've already got it in their Google Drive, they can pull it from there, or they can go and create a new doc, slide, sheet, or drawing. So again, the more you get used to this, and the students do too, they can create new things from here. So if I wanted, the student needed to create a new Google drawing from here, it's creating a new Google drawing for them. And then all they have to do is click on that. It will create a Google drawing, and look what happened. It's magic. It put in Blake's name up here, and it put in the title of the assignment. So then they can work on this. It'll save automatically to their drive. They don't have to worry about hitting the save button. And then when they are done, they can close out of it, but then it'll be saved here. So if I go back into it, and let me just put a shape here so you can see. And then again, don't have to, it says all changes are saved in Drive. What folder did it go to? if I click right here on my title, it's saying, hey, it's in the differentiation workshop folder. Why? Because that's the class they're in. They didn't have to move it to that folder. It's organized on the back end for them. Again, this is a time saver, and working with students and computers the last 15 years, that was the trouble we would always have, is them saving it. What did they name it? And where did they save it? This saves a tremendous amount of time and organization for the students. So then when, Blake's done with this assignment, he can hit turn in. Now I'm going to switch back to the teacher view here real quick and show you. Then as a teacher, does anybody remember, okay, what I was in this assignment, right? Fun Christmas traditions. So what I can do as a teacher, I can look at this. It's assigned to 2 people. Why? Because I have 2 people in the classroom. I can go here and look to see their progress they have done. So if I click on here, it can show me what he's worked on so far. And again, especially in this time of remote learning, I can give feedback. Hey, Blake, I see that you're having trouble with this. What can I help you with? Or, maybe give them suggestions real time instead of waiting for them to turn it in. So what's nice about this, sometimes it'll show right here. I don't know if it just hasn't loaded right now, or in Google Drawings it won't, but sometimes if it was the students writing an essay or work, I could kind of see what they're working on, how far they are, by just looking at the snippet, because most of my classes, I did have 30 plus students in them. So I didn't sometimes take time to click on everyone. I could just look at all of the little thumbnail of the assignment to see how far they were, or I could see, oh, you haven't even started, Lisa, and maybe send her a message, seeing if she needs help getting started, or, talking to her in class, or whatever it may be. During remote learning, you could give them comments. So when I pull this up, no files are submitted, I could send her a private comment, asking, hey, what can I help you with? Or maybe give some suggestions. And then she would get a comment next to this assignment on her end with Google Classroom. As you can see, we've got 2 hours today. We have a half hour left. There's just so much here within Google Classroom, but hopefully you are coming up with more questions you're wanting answered, and realize that it will get easier. Anything you do use with students, and again, let the students and parents know, whether we're back in school in the fall full time, or it looks a little bit different. We might have some remote learning that, you're learning as well, and you're trying things out. Will you make mistakes? You may, maybe you won't. I know I have made plenty, and I still make plenty of mistakes. So just, again, don't be so hard on yourself, because this is a lot to take in. Again, so I'm on the teacher view. I can see the kids' assignments. Here's the student work. I can go to this tab here and look at instructions, and it takes me back here to see instructions, class comments here. Again, when I'm at the student work and I give them a comment, that comment will only go to them. And it won't go to the whole class. If I look right here, I've got 2 different buttons over here. I've got grading. There's no file submitted, so I'm not grading anything. But if I go to the comment bank, if I'm using the same comment over and over again, I can add it to the bank and just copy and paste it. So this bank travels with me to whatever students I'm working with in this differentiation workshop classroom. So, if I say, oh, I like your work a lot, or whatever it is, I can copy that to clipboard, come back up here to the grading tab, and then just paste it in there, and I can post it. Okay. So same thing if I go back here to Blake, and do you see I can go click on this arrow to go back and forth to students. I can also see who it's been assigned to. So let me go back to Blake here. So here's what Blake has done. Again, if I go to the bank, I might have to go here, finish answering all of your questions. That's one thing I found with the older kids. Sometimes they would just turn in assignments even if they weren't completed, but it showed it was marked, it was done, and it was turned in. So they thought then they would have free time. So I would have to go back and tell them, hey, I'm returning it to you, and you need to go back and finish your assignment. So then when I returned it to them, then it showed that it wasn't turned in, so they had to redo it or add to it or finish it and then turn it back in. So here, again, this just goes to the student Blake. So if I go back to Blake, and right here, I'm already still in the assignment. It says he's got this comment, finish answering all of the questions, and then he can do a private comment. So here's another way that you can discuss and have conversations with your students. So if I go, let me go back to the slide deck here. And as you can see, I'm not going over every single slide. Again, I'm hoping that you'll use the slide deck as a reference to go back to, or go to in the fall when you get into this. So we talked about creating an assignment, how you can create a question. I haven't talked about that. Let me talk about this farm lesson. So for resources, again, if you are a teacher out there who's used Google Classroom a lot, if you go to this slide deck 26, I have the Innovating Play website. I don't know if you use Teachers Pay Teachers or you pay for different lessons out there. Let me tell you, stop before you pay for another lesson again. What Google has created is there are Google innovators out there that they are working on a problem. These two Google innovators, Jessica and Christine, they've been around for a few years, that they have created a lot of resources out there. I think this is geared towards kindergarten, but I can see it, other teachers using this as well, that they allow you to use their resources. Just make sure you give credit to them. If you're sharing it with other teachers, letting other teachers know that you didn't create it, but there's material out there. So again, with this Innovating Play website, there's a lot of information out there that you could use. So with Google Classroom, you think, okay, I don't have a lot of stuff on, technology-wise to be putting in Google Classroom. Again, take a deep breath, and over the years you will add up different files and resources, but don't think that you have to create everything. There's a lot of stuff out there that people let you use for free. Just again, make sure they give you copyright permission, and if you are sharing it with other teachers. Because I know some things with Teachers Pay Teachers, they don't allow you to share it with other teachers, and majority of the teachers I know are willing to share their lessons, but sometimes the Teachers Pay Teachers, you can't do that because you've only bought it for your classroom, for your students. So if I go over here to classwork, and if I go down here to farm, so what I did yesterday, I created an assignment called I Wonder. And within that assignment, you can see that I added more than one thing. So I'm going to go up here and hit, I'm going to click these three dots and hit edit. So here's what the assignment looks like. So I gave it a title. I put follow the instructions on the assignment, and I added a Google Drawings. I added a YouTube video. I even added a link for them to go to read about the food we eat. So again, all of this material came from the Innovating Play website from these two ladies. Again, they do give you permission to use it in your classroom. All I had to do was come up here to hit add, and whether it was a link or Google Drive to get it from. So if I go, let me see, I think I had, let me see if this is it. So this I got off of their website. No, this isn't it. You know what? I still have it open here. Okay. Another thing while I'm waiting for this to load, do you see how some of these tabs up here don't have names and they're kind of smaller? What I've done, I've pinned the tabs. What that mainly allows me to do then, so I don't accidentally close something. So if I right click on it and pin a tab, it just puts it smaller and I can't accidentally close it. If I right click on it, I can unpin it or I can go back and close the tab. So you have options to do that. What I usually do, I usually have my email, my chat, and my calendar pinned. Right now I've got some of the assignments that I wanted to show you pinned and the Google slide deck. So some of the things that I'm working on throughout the day, I'll have pinned as well. And it just will, you know, if for some reason I accidentally shut down my computer or accidentally hit the X, I can't do that with a pinned tab. So right here then, the farm animals list, this came right from their website. Again, if I had time, could I recreate something like this to be my own? I could, but again, as a teacher and even as in my role here with the LTC, I run out of time to get everything done. So I'm not taking credit for this. This came off of their Innovating Play website. And I can share this out with the students if I wanted to. What I would have to do to be able to share this with students, I would have to go up to File and make a copy. If this is something that they allow me to add to the to my classroom, because it's got to be in your Google account for you to add it to your classroom. So then once I do that, then I can hit add, and I can either get the link from right from that assignment, or I can get it from my Google Drive. So to get the link right from the assignment, I could go up here to hit share. I don't know if you saw where I clicked on that share in the upper right hand corner. It shows that I've shared this out to Google Drive or to my Google Classroom differentiation workshop. Okay. But if I come down here where it says get link, I might have to change it, put anyone with the link, or in your case, it's just going to go to District 87. District 87's got it set up that no one can access anything from the Google account, again, unless if they access it through their District 87 account. And then, whoops, anyone with the link. And then I put viewer. You could add them as a comment. They could add comments to it or as an editor. Again, if you don't want them to change the way it looks, just keep it as a viewer. If you want them to be able to allow to make comments, you could add them as a commenter. They just can't change anything on the Google Doc. And then right from there, whoops, I closed out of that, I can copy link. So the link's copied. So when I'm in classroom, I could go over here to link and just paste the link right here, and it will add it to here as well. I've got it set up where students can view file. If for some reason I need it for them to edit the file, I can. But how I've got that permission set up is I had those two choices here. So there they've got the same assignment there by clicking on it. So you can put multiple things in one assignment. With parents, I would suggest that maybe you put some parent instructions here, or maybe some questions or discussion items that they could interact and maybe ask their child that you might have asked them or interacted with them if they were in the classroom. So again, come over here and I can manipulate or change any of this. If you see right here, each student will get a copy. Since I've already assigned this, I can't go back in and change this. So if that is inaccurate, I would have to delete this post and reassign it so that I can change it. But if you see right here, I can change it back and forth between view and edit, even after I've assigned it. And as you can see, even though I've assigned this and I want the kids to have a copy of this, it won't let me to add something that they can get their own copy. It only allows me to do those two options here. And then I can hit save. If I go, let me show you one other thing and then I'll go to the students. So, so right here, so research and animal, I started to do this yesterday and I saved it as a draft. So you could ask, you know, tell the parents what you've been studying. Again, if not for sure what school might look like in the fall, if they will be allowed to come to school, some or not, but you can let them know, let parents know what you've been studying, if you've had them in class for a little bit, and maybe suggest things that they could ask their child or what they should do, maybe go through the slide deck about the animal with their child, whatever it may be. I had put this, saved as a draft, but if I wanted to, I can go in, put the due date on here, and I can put it under the topic, farm, and then when I'm ready, I can assign it. So then it says students will see the assignment in their streams immediately, and I'll hit assign. So if I switch over to the student view, again, do you see I'm just clicking on this differentiation workshop? It takes me back to the stream. And then if I go back to classwork, then I can go down to the farm, and then this is what the students will see. So they click on I Wonder, and then they've got, here's the video here. And what's nice about these videos then, if you put it in classroom, it shouldn't show other ads, and they can just play it right from here. They can then click on this link, and it takes them to a new tab. And this is the Reading A to Z website. And I know you've got your own curriculum there, so I'm just showing you from this website here. And then here's where they can go through and look at the book here. Again, there's different resources. So you might even be able to pull some things from here to incorporate within your Google Classroom again as well. So all they have to do is just keep going back to the classroom to see. They can do it from the classwork page, or they can click on view assignment and see everything from right here. And then when they're all done with everything, if they have work to attach, they can. If not, once they've got it attached, they then hit turn in again. And then it says, hey, one attachment will be submitted for I Wonder, hit turn in. Sometimes you might have them do an assignment, but there's nothing for them to turn in. And I'll show you what that will look like here. If, again, I'm in the student view, and I'll go back to the classwork page. And down here, the research and animal, let's say there's nothing to turn in. They can just come up here and mark as done. So if they come here and mark as done, it says, hey, you didn't attach work. The teacher will just see mark as done. So again, hopefully, if you don't have anything to turn in, you have that mark as done. Hopefully they are doing it and just not marking it as done, but that's a risk you take when you're doing that. Again, they can unsubmit it if they realize they marked it as done and they didn't attach something, or whatever the reason may be, they can unsubmit it as well. Same thing with that other assignment that they turned in for the I Wonder. It shows it's turned in. They can come up here and unsubmit that as well. So what the student can do, another place they can look is under the to do, and it can show what's missing, what assignments that have no due date, and what's due Wednesday. So they can then go to done and they can see what they've turned in.
Lisa, I have a couple questions if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
So when that marked as done, is that the only way in Google Classroom? Like if they're supposed to watch a video or something, like you can't see how many kids or, you know, their parents have viewed a video until they mark the done. Is that correct?
Yeah. Have you used
Okay.
Edpuzzle before?
No.
Okay. Because I know there's some other apps out there that people can put a video in and it shows how long
Yeah, like we've used Dojo, and like that's, you know, you can see how many parents have viewed that. And that's fine. I was just wondering like how much like teaching needs to be done in the front end about how to, you know, how to use that with the parents. And the other thing I was wondering, could you, I just missed where you're getting that student view, and could you like show me again where that is?
No, great question. So the student view, so at District 87 or whatever district you're at, you don't have, you can't do a student view. I know people have asked to see if we could get a student view in Google Classroom, especially during this time of remote learning, because when I was in the classroom, I would say, okay, I would ask the kids, okay, what does this look like on your end? You know, I pushed this out and can I see if I did it right, and to see that student view. With the LTC, I was able to get a student account. It's a dummy account that they created for me so I could show you what the student view looks like and the teacher view, because I know that's how I best learn. So I don't know if there's, you know, a parent you could conference with and, you know, share their screen to say, okay, I pushed this out. Can I see what it looks like on your end? If we do continue to have remote learning in the fall, or maybe by the fall, Google will have added a student view to Google Classroom, because I know that's been a huge ask. No, great questions, Chris. Thanks for asking that. So that's how I'm able to show you the student view and teacher view. There's another question.
No, this is Holly Zare. I wanted to speak to Chris for a second. So I'm fortunate in that I have a second grade daughter at home who's in District 87. So I have added her to she's at Oakland, but I've added her into my class at Sheridan so that I can log in as her to see the student view. Another option is for you to just log in as a student and then take a look at what it's looking like from their end.
Yeah, great, Holly. I don't know if the district, you know, allows that for you to log in with their account, because basically you'll have to log into their Google account to do that, but that's a workaround. So yeah, right now I think Lisa asked out there that could teachers create a dummy student that they could view, and that would be up to your district. I don't know of any district that allows that, because then they would have to create another student name out there in the Google account. But again, I guess what we're hoping on this end, that hopefully Google, they do listen to people, and hopefully they will add that student view come August time when we go back to school, no matter what it looks like. So thank you, Holly. And yeah, you're fortunate to have a daughter in second grade to be able to look at that. All right. Oh, wow. We only have 10 minutes left. And Holly, I think you were the one who asked about the iPad, the user interface at the beginning, and I haven't had time to talk about that. And maybe we can have a discussion here, but kind of want to get a feel. Again, as you can see, I'm not getting a chance to go over every single slide here, but I wanted it to be a reference for you to go back to later on. I'm trying to just kind of look through here if there's something. What are your other questions out there that you may have? Whether it's from what I showed you or just concerns you have about Google Classroom or Google in general.
Lisa, for me, I'm concerned too about how explaining this to parents. Is there a resource that you would recommend or have seen, maybe either like a YouTube video or a handout or something that could easily explain directions to the parents? Because I teach kindergarten as well, so I feel like they're going to be doing a lot of the, you know, the front end of the work of showing their child how to log in and how to access things.
Anita, was that you talking?
Yes.
Okay, great question. I don't know if I look on slide 48, I don't know if there's any parent resources on on any of those links. If not, I'm sure there's some out there. I am putting that on my to-do list. And since you do, if you've added this to your drive, then I'll go ahead and type in parent resources, and I'll see if by the end of the week, if I can find some and get those added. I'll put them right here on slide 48. So great question. And again, that's, what Anita was talking about. Could I create a parent resource? I could, but if there's something that's already created out there, it's okay to use as long as they give you permission. And so, with the website, I was showing you some assignments from today. They want you to use it. So if you do, I think someone put in chat that you've been able to use Zoom with students. If for some reason you can start using Google Meets and you're using the link from Google Classroom in the fall, here's a little guide to, explain to the students, explain to parents about, things to follow when they're in the classroom via remote learning. So hopefully the takeaway from today is not only about classroom, but realizing, hey, there's a lot of things out there that's already you can use for free. So if you're having trouble finding something, let me know. I've got a wealth of information out there, or I can try to search and help you out for a particular topic or subject area as well. Okay, and it looks like, and see, by asking this question, Anita, I don't know if you see in chat, Tiffany has a link there that she shared with us that she passes out to parents to get started. And what I've noticed, I know what kind of learner I am. Sometimes, she posts a YouTube video, great. Would everyone want to watch a YouTube video? Maybe not. So if we can find other resources out there that is maybe like a PDF or, a guide for them to just look at if they don't want to sit through and watch a video. Again, with technology, as you guys have known, using technology in the classroom over the years, it does help immensely with differentiation. But here with Google Classroom, it just, again, helps you and the students be organized, everything in one place, and then you can go back to from year to year. I'm just kind of looking over here in my slide deck here. So again, I put the originality reports in just for your knowledge. I don't know if that would be anything that you would use. One last thing I do want to talk to you about in Google Classroom. So you do have an option to give the quiz assignment here for the students. I will tell you, most of the time when I created assignments, again, this is just Lisa's way of doing it, I would just create an assignment. The difference between the two, if I did create an assignment, it brings up a blank Google form. Most of the time when I was creating the assignments in Google Classroom, I already had the assignments made on the back end. It was already in my Google Drive, and or it was instructions I put here, and then they could create. So this assignment here, if I did blank quiz, I could create a quiz from here using Google Forms, but if I already had it created, I could just X out of that, and then it just turns back to an assignment. So that's why I just mainly hit create assignment. But again, differentiation, you may create the quiz right from the assignment here in Classroom. Again, here you can go to create question. So here I've got a question. I give the students, I can put instructions here. I can have the question be short answer or multiple choice. And again, this would just show up on the stream as well. So with it being close to summer, I can put the question there again. I can put short answer. If I change it to multiple choice, here I've got options right here. So I can put in swimming.
So if we wanted parents to like be able to fill out a questionnaire or something, like a quiz would be a good, the quiz format would be a good way to do that. So we
Yes.
could put like, you know, tell us what your child's favorite activity is, their favorite food, their favorite book to read or whatever. Then they could do that in quiz format so that then it would all be in that form that you could create, right?
Yeah, and you can create that using a Google form. If you've never used Google Forms, there's resources out there. I do have on my YouTube channel, since March, I've been doing a lot of professional development for teachers around the state. And some of the teachers asked me to start recording some of the sessions, so I have. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you can learn about Google Forms. Do you have to learn from my YouTube channel? No, it's just a resource out there. You might be able to get it from, just Googling it. There's much shorter versions. I've just recorded my workshop that I did on Google Forms, Sheets, and Screencastify. So you have access to all of these.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. But yeah, Google Forms, once you learn about them, it's an awesome resource. And then what's nice about using the Google form rather than asking the question right from Classroom is that it turns it all into a spreadsheet for you. So then going back here then to that question, I don't think I put it, I just put it under top or no topic, but again, I can go back and edit it and put it under the questions. And then the student view, what the student sees, then for that question, they can go into that and then they can see, okay, here's what their question is. They can click on what they want, hit turn in. You won't be able to make changes to your answer after you submit. So with the questions, you can't. And then it's turned in. And then on the teacher's side, then they can see, it just shows you right here real quick. Okay, one person has voted swimming and 0 bike, and it says 1 turned in, 1 assigned. But again, if you want that data to look at later, that Google form is the best way to use. So one last thing here. If you go down here to the very last slide, slide 49, I've got an evaluation here and then District 87. Let me know if that evaluation, if you're able to open that evaluation and complete that as well. So if you could take time to complete them both, that would be great. And I'll stay on for a few extra minutes if people have questions they would like to ask, but thank you very much for your time. Hopefully this has calmed some of your nerves about starting with Google Classroom and realize you're on this journey and that it will hopefully get better the more you use your technology, and in this case, Google Classroom. So thanks for being with me today, and might see you later in some of the other workshops. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'll stop recording